A couple that I know wanted to thank me for officiating at their son's wedding. So they invited me to join them in a performance, a live performance of the illusionist, magician, David Copperfield. And he's pretty well known. You may have seen him on TV. So I was pretty excited. I like magic acts. So we went to the theater, the auditorium, the big place, and it had been sold out, but they had opened some additional seats by taking the orchestra pit and putting a cover over it and setting chairs in the front. So we ended up literally in the very front row. I was so close, I put my foot up and I could touch the stage. And I thought, this is going to be so great. I can watch Copperfield close up and I will be catching him at some of his tricks. So he came out, and I don't remember everything he did, but he did some sleight of hand stuff. It was projected on a big screen for the poor people who had to sit farther back. But I could see it, and I could not catch what he was doing. It was just so good. Then he made somebody disappear and reappear, and I thought, sure, I can't do that either, but that was good. At one point, he brought a live tiger onto the stage. And that's when I was kind of wishing I was not sitting so close. But he made the tiger disappear and then reappear later on somewhere else. But then for the finale, he drove a Harley Davidson, the big motorcycle, out onto the stage. And he revved it up, and you could hear it. And then he drove it into a crate, a big wooden crate. And he drove it there, and then the assistants closed up all the sides. Copperfield and the motorcycle were inside. They put chains around it. And then it was hoisted high above the stage. And I couldn't take my eyes off of it. And I watched. And all of a sudden there was like a flash of light and a poof and a lot of smoke. And the sides of the crate fell open and it was empty. No David Copperfield, no motorcycle. It was empty. Then the house lights came up a little bit, and everybody started turning around, and I looked, and there back in the middle of the seats was a platform, and there was Copperfield on top of the motorcycle, revving it up once again. That happened some years ago. I've thought about it a lot since then. I still haven't figured it out. Was it magic? Not in the sense of that he was doing anything superhuman. It was an illusion, and he loves to call himself an illusionist. He makes something appear that really isn't the case. It's an illusion. We like illusions. We like to be fooled. The truth is, we try to figure things out, but in a sense, we really don't want to. We enjoy the trick of the whole thing. There are some seats over there. If people don't mind, just come on and somebody will scoot down so you can find a place to sit, please. We love illusions. We even pay money for illusions, and when they trick us and we can't figure it out, we applaud them. But that's a show. We don't like illusion in real life. In fact, we say something is phony, or we call the person hypocritical, or maybe it's a facade that something puts on. It's artificial. We don't want illusion in real life, and we certainly don't want it in our spiritual lives. So for 3 weeks now, we've been reading from the Sermon on the Plain, one chapter, chapter 6 of Luke's Gospel. And a couple weeks ago, you heard the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor. Blessed are those who are hungry. You also heard the woes. Woe to those who are well off. Last week, we heard those powerful words that simply say, love your enemy and turn the cheek and go the extra mile. Today, Jesus pulls it all together and he says, whatever you do in your spiritual journey of following me, be authentic. Don't allow it to be an illusion. Don't be superficial. And he even calls the people hypocrites. You know, you're so worried about the little failure of your brother or sister, the little speck in their eye, and you don't see the big fault in your own. Hypocritical. We don't want our spirituality to be just a front. It has to be core to the good of the heart. That's a challenge. But that's really what makes sense. And I think what happens for some people, they start with the exterior. You know, they see the pious folding of the hands or the bows, and they think, oh, this is spirituality. It attracts them. But in reality, that's limited. You have to get deeper than that. Then I think there are others who start off with a really good journey of faith. They're trying to follow Jesus, but then they somehow lose the core. It's almost like the tree that goes rotten. And if it's a rotten tree, you can't have healthy fruit. So Jesus is saying, go inside. And he uses that wonderful, simple phrase. He says, from the store of goodness in your heart, you can pull out the goodness. From the store of goodness in your heart. Now, I think of a pantry. That's the image that comes to me. If I have a pantry full of good things, I can pull out something good. What's in our heart? Can we pull it out? Remember about 3 weeks ago when we heard that there's a big snowstorm coming and everybody goes to the store and buys food so that you're ready in case you're going to be snowbound for the next 13 weeks? And we always joke that people buy milk and bread and eggs. I did. But I also bought some fruit and fresh vegetables and some meat and all those other things that we live on. You don't want to just go and buy candy bars. You don't want to buy just potato chips. By the way, those are not necessarily not on my list, but I don't do that alone. You want something that's good. We fill the cupboard with good things. That's the challenge. What are we putting inside ourselves? That to be the core of the goodness that comes out, so it's not just a pretend faith. From the core of goodness of the heart comes out good things. So how do we get the good things in there? We put it in there by letting God put it in there, actually. We avail ourselves and say, Lord, transform me from the inside out. Change my heart. There's a Greek word for that called metanoia, change of heart. Usually we talk about that during Lent. I'm giving you 3 days advance notice. Lent is coming. A change of heart. Let the good be inside us. Surround ourselves with good so it influences us. And then that good will transform the world. We don't want to live a life of illusion or pretend. We want it to be the real thing.